And we'll bring you that second leg here on beIN Sports. It takes place on the 23rd of January. You'll see it with us here on 11. The second semi-final, first leg, takes place tomorrow night. Chelsea host Arsenal at Stamford Bridge. Same channels, same language options, Arabic, English and French for you for that one. We're underway at 10 o'clock local time. How utterly gutting for those Bristol City players. And we'd said all, in fact, you said, didn't you, at the start of the night, the one player City can't afford to lose now was Sergio Aguero. Was that prime example of what he brings that no one else does?
That's credit Bristol City. He had to come on because they looked as if they couldn't find a way, Man City, but they do. They've done it so many times. It's a wonderful ball from Silva. And he's just got away from Flint and in between Bailey Wright. And I mean, you've got so many players back, and that's the problem. You've got so many players back defending in numbers, but you're not actually picking the people up, and he's away. He's on his own. And, you know, when they see that again, they'll be so disappointed, Bristol City. But great effort from them, but I think the commentator was right, Peter Drury. The goal was coming.
Raheem Sterling, a very good performance, very good footballer, but does Aguero bring something completely different to that centre-forward role?
He's a centre-forward, and he stays, hopefully, he stays down the centre, doesn't he? And, you know, I think that with Sterling playing and Sane, they like to play out on the wide positions, and they needed Aguero to come on. And great credit to Bristol City, because of their performance, it forced Guardiola to bring him on.
You know, I mean, what you got from Bristol City, I thought, until that moment was superhuman efforts, really, from each and every player. Firstly, Lee Johnson's tactics were excellent, and what the players produced in energy for him was fantastic.
We'll look back at the best of it when we come back after this.
Thanks a lot.
They must be physically spent. How much more difficult is it then going to Ashton Gate, going in 2-1 down as opposed to 1 apiece?
Yeah, obviously it's a big dampener on it for Bristol City, because you know, if they took Man City to Ashton Gate at 1-1, then really game on. But of Man City, they've got to score a goal at Ashton Gate. That's going to make it very, very difficult, I think, for Bristol City. But great credit with the effort they've put in there tonight. And when you work as hard as that, as Bailey Wright just said, you know, you're so tired. They switched off in the last minute, the 92nd minute. They switched off, and they paid the price.
And of course, it had to be Sergio Aguero.
Yeah. Well,
off the bench.
You know, I think he's had 6 or 7 years at Man City now. He's part of the furniture, top scorer they've ever had, and he's just got that clinical finisher's appetite. He wants to score goals, and he drifts into a position. When the ball comes out wide here, he's just quietly drifting into a position, and it's like the defenders have all gone quiet just for that second, and it goes over Aidan Flint's head, and he's headed everything all night. And there's a great ball in from Bernardo Silva. You've got to remember that. But he's got that knack of ghosting in, and keeper couldn't do anything about it. Quality of the ball was so good, and the timing was perfect for Manchester City.
Once or twice through the night, Raheem Sterling had found himself in positions where he might have got a goal, but he never really looked like a centre-forward.
And no, he was filling in there because obviously Guardiola wants to rest Aguero, protect him as much as he can. You know, and tonight I thought Sterling and Sané were still very effective in the game, particularly in the first half. They created the better chances. The chances that fell to Manchester City, and they missed quite a few. But again, you go to Bristol City, every defender was putting pressure on anyone who was taking a shot at goal. So it made them hurry that little bit. And we were saying it looks like it was going to be one of those nights for Manchester City. In the end, it wasn't. But
it did when Bobby Reid went past John Stones in the centre half, clumsily pulled him down in the box.
Yeah, and you could just tell John Stones' rustiness, just coming back into the team, second game. Mangala had a really terrible night, and he looked rusty as well. Lazy defending, really, but Bobby Reid's got that extra little bit of pace, and he'll prepared to chase anything down. You
made that great point, Alan, before the game, that the Manchester City players wouldn't know about the Bristol City players.
No, they'd seen the videos and they'd have known that he was quick, but you don't really know how quick until you're actually playing against them. And he just had that extra yard in there, and I think he felt he felt Stones was going to make the challenge. And Bravo, as we know, such a good penalty stopper. He nearly got that. It was a good penalty along the floor in the corner.
Reed's
but he nearly
heart must
got
have been in his mouth there.
Absolutely. But, you know, you've got to give them great credit. They've gone to the Etihad and put up better display than any other Premier League club that's gone there.
And if you follow social media, you know Bristol City love a GIF. The goal scorers plan these in advance. If they score, that goes up on the club's Twitter page. Love that.
It's great. And, you know, they'll be so disappointed, you know, because I think in their wildest dreams they wouldn't imagine that they'd have even got a 2-1, you know, but to be so close to getting that draw, which would have given them an opportunity at Ashton Gate. I still think it would have been a bit too far from, even if they got the draw. I think Man City are just too good.
It could have been worse. John Stones gave away that penalty. He maybe should have had one of his own at the other end. Yeah,
I think it's Bailey Wright who grapples with him. And be interesting if VAR was in play, if we'd have got a decision there, because it's clearly been pulled, but then it's open to opinion again. Whoever's going to be watching it decides if that's a penalty, or
is it a penalty in your opinion?
Or he asked the ref to have another look at it.
Would you give it?
I think it's a penalty.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's, we're going to see a lot of those challenges, I think, being brought up on VAR as well, and it'll be very influential on results of games, no doubt about it.
At times there was heroic defending from the Bristol City players. Remember, at 1-0 up, just before the break, Aidan Flint had this header almost on the goal line from Raheem Sterling.
I think Trevor's right. I think he basically heads the bar. He's the only player that perhaps could have cleared this.
6'6".
6'6".
Needed every inch.
Sterling thinks he scored, and it's a great ball.
It's a good little finish, actually, from Raheem Sterling.
Well, there's not much more you could do there, is there?
No, he thinks he scored. Only for the giant to come get in the way and flick it over the bar. And I just say he clips the bar. He clips the bar.
That was moments after Bristol City had taken the lead as well. So it was perfect timing to make that kind of challenge.
Sterling had a really good chance early in that second half to equalise, and this really set the tone for the second 45.
They were so dangerous on the counter-attack, as we know, Man City in the pace. But it's on his left foot. I think he's looking to pass it to De Bruyne. He can't. Eventually, yes, it's his weaker foot. Perhaps he'd have had a better effort if it had been on his
With
right
hindsight, if he just gets his head down and goes for goal, is he better off?
Yeah, but I think he knew he was always going to have the shot with his left foot, and perhaps he was always looking to pass it and couldn't get the pass off. In the end, Flint made a good save.
That was, 3 minutes before the equaliser. All started off by the goalkeeper, Claudio Bravo.
Well, they're pressing here, aren't they, Bristol City? And that composure of the goalkeeper, look at that ball. I don't think that Bristol City thought that he'd ever get out of that and deliver a ball like that to De Bruyne. And we've seen this so often. The cut back, De Bruyne finishes it.
It was the calmness, really, of Bravo, wasn't it, under pressure from Bristol City players. And when you are pressing the ball, you're occasionally going to leave a player loose like that. But Bravo had that belief in himself, calmness to find De Bruyne.
It's amazing to think, 2 weeks ago, not even, we sat in this studio all thinking that City would be without De Bruyne for a foreseeable length of time, for potentially 1-2 months out.
He's the one player, probably, I would say the one player that Guardiola doesn't want to have on the injured list, and again he showed tonight.
And look at that.
Their celebration.
City taking a leaf out of the Bristol City book, their own GIF after the goal.
It was interesting what Lee Johnson done though with about 15 minutes to go. You know, they're still in the game 1-1, and he decided to go man for man with De Bruyne and to try and stop him. And that
was he that influential that he had no choice but to do that?
Yeah, I think it was a great little tactic. Here's a chance that Sterling does well. He gets across the defender. He's got to keep it down though. Gives the keeper a chance.
That De Bruyne a little run there was an indicator, I think, to Lee Johnson that he's starting to really run the game and find spaces and holes.
City had a lot of chances in that second half. Would Lee Johnson maybe not publicly but secretly take 2-1?
Oh yeah, I think that, you know, you will be fearing the worst. Bristol City would have been fearing the worst going to the Etihad tonight, that perhaps they get well beaten and the second leg will be a non-event. But, you know, they'll take 2-1, that's for sure, because Man City, as we know, created so many chances and perhaps snatched at one or two of them. Perhaps it was bad finishing, great defending, but it wasn't their night in front of goal, and but they found a way, didn't they, like they often do.
I don't know whether Bristol City have already sold the tickets for the second leg, but if they haven't,
yeah, I mean, it
clamour
keeps
for
the whole thing alive, doesn't it? And, you know, fully expect Manchester City to go through to the final. But if they don't, it's going to have to be a mighty performance from Bristol City on their home territory.
They just need a 1-0.
Yeah, no, but it's a long,
it's
a long 90 minutes, you know, against a team of this quality.
120. If it finishes 1-0 after 90, because of the rules of this competition, as Peter Drury was reminding us, it go extra time and then away goals count.
Oh no, they've got a chance, Bristol City, because of what they've done now tonight at the Etihad. They've got a chance. The scoreline gives them a chance, but they're going to have to play better than tonight. They're going to have more offensive work, and in saying that, they've still got to do that defensive bit to stop Man City.
The team that Guardiola put out, when you look at it, it was a little bit disjointed and different levels of fitness and people playing out of position a little bit. So it was a perfect night for Bristol City to really have a go at them, because that was a discussion we were having before the game. Would Bristol City play their game, go aggressive, and they certainly did, as long as they could last.
Great credit to Lee Johnson with his tactics and the way they went about it. It was really good.
Really good night of football, and we've got another one coming your way tomorrow in the second semi-final.